All right, Timothy. So how are we doing?
I'm doing okay.
Great. You sound a little hesitant on that okay. Why don't you talk to me a little bit more about that?
I've been trying to work on regulating my feelings and things like that, kind of keeping my emotions under control and not having so many panics and things like that.
Okay. All right. And Timothy, I know that we've been working through therapy, doing grief counseling mainly, trying to help you process the loss of your grandmother, and recently you've lost your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And I know during last week's session you had told me about having panic attacks. So for homework, I assigned for you to do your own mindfulness meditation. I just wanted you to go home and take the script that I gave you and kind of run through it yourself. Just do your own meditation to see how it helped with your panic attacks. So why don't we talk about that? Let's review how that went for you.
Yeah, I think it worked really well. Just being able to put on some nice peaceful music, maybe some nature sounds and things like that, and just being able to sit there and kind of close my eyes and just relax and really have an inner thought, and just to work on calming myself and focusing my emotions and my feelings to really kind of just slow everything down that's been going on. I think it really helped a lot, and it was able to it really calmed me down.
It sounds like you got a lot out of the meditation, so that's really great.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is something that you can implement easily in your life?
Definitely, after work when I get home and stuff like that, I think being able to take 20 or 30 minutes to just kind of sit there and have inner reflection and things like that, I think it would definitely be easy to do. In a work environment, if I ever get stressed out, yeah, I think I could take maybe 5 to 10 minutes to just kind of reflect and kind of regain focus and try and calm myself. I think that would really help too in a work environment.
Okay, that's awesome. And I just want to reiterate what you said. That was great that you recognize that it is helpful. Just whenever you feel that anxiety is just, taking over, I want you to remember that mindfulness meditation. And like you said, whether it's 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, take some time out, do that meditation, and just see how much it really helps. And continue to keep me updated with how that's going, and especially if it is helping your panic attacks. And if it's not, maybe there are other routes that we can take to help target those panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. You've also been visiting with your primary care doctor, trying to help target those auditory and visual hallucinations. Is that helping with you?
Yeah, I think the medicine he gave me really helped to kind of almost completely cut those out, so I'm not really having any hallucinations or anything like that anymore. So I think the medicine really is helping, and just to take out that factor in my life that was causing me so much stress and weird feelings.
Yeah, okay. In the beginning, you said you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a little bit of depressive symptoms behind that you still feel like you're experiencing?
Yeah, the depressive feelings are still there. Those have been the things that have really been hard to get rid of, because it's just always there in the back of my mind, and a lot of things it'll trigger sometimes that I just can't help it but feel that way.
Okay. What are some things that are coming up? Are you having thoughts maybe, or?
Yeah, just thinking back to the recent deaths that I've experienced in my family. That really brings the depressive feelings to the forefront of my mind, and it triggers it the most.
Okay. And in the past, you've talked about how you feel like you're overwhelmed with all of these thoughts surrounding the grief and loss, and just the processing it is very difficult for you. And that's something that we've been trying to continue to work on each session that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
So with you telling me that, I think it'd be a great idea to do an activity where we talk about our automatic thoughts and how we can challenge them. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So for this activity, I want you to think of triggers that specifically relate to the grief and loss that you've experienced, relating it back to your situation. And then we have our automatic thoughts. It's just the first thing that pops into our head, whether they're negative or positive. And then we have our new thought, where we make it a lot better. We try to tell ourselves, I've got this thought, But is there another way that I could be looking at it? Whether, it's a way to help make the situation seem better or give ourselves hope in a way, okay? So I'll give you an example of just a random thought that I have. The trigger, the thought, and then the new thought. And then we'll kind of go through for you and kind of see what thoughts we've got going on and what we can do to maybe change those up a bit. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so a trigger for me would be I feel like I'm really bad at my job.
Okay.
So my automatic thought would be, I'm going to get fired. Sound pretty logical for some person who thinks they're doing a bad job?
Yeah.
Okay, so my new thought would be, yeah, everyone makes mistakes, but if I continue to, work towards being better at my job, then everything's going to be fine. Something like that.
Okay.
You see the spin on it, how at first I was thinking negatively, but now I'm thinking it in a different way, and it sounds a little bit more positive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to try this activity with me right now, and let's just start thinking of some things that we can try to have a new perspective on.
Okay.
Okay, great. So let's think of our first trigger. What do you have going on?
I think probably the most obvious one would be thinking about the death of my grandmother and my cousin. That's the most prevalent trigger in my life right now.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that a lot. And it is a process. Grief is there's a lot of stages of grief that you've got, and you're still in the middle of that, so we're still working towards it. What is an automatic thought that you would have from that?
Just the thought that, like, I'm never going to see them again,
Mm-hmm.
or they're never going to be in my life, and it just causes, like, a lot of depression and anxiety and sadness.
Okay.
Just knowing that I'll never get to visit with them, I'll never see them over the holidays or things like that, and it's really hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm. So thinking about that, you told me a lot about your symptoms and your feelings, but is there another way that we can look at this with a new thought?
I guess to try and be positive about it, you could look at it and say, I know they're in a better place now, and there's no more pain or struggling for them, so that's really the best positive outlook I can see, is that they are in a better place, and I have to realize that and learn to understand that.
Okay. That was a great first run. I think that was really great, and that was a prevalent trigger that you've got going on right now, and I'm glad that you were able to recognize that, but also look at it in a different way. Let's try another one.
Maybe the situation at work when I had a panic attack would be a trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it's a little bit of a scary scenario.
Yeah.
To have a panic attack while you're around all your coworkers and your bosses and things like that.
Okay, and we talked about this in the beginning, how that meditation that you tried, how that kind of helped. So what's an automatic thought that you have?
I think the most obvious one would, like you gave in your example, would be losing my job because of if I have more frequent panic attacks, and it kind of maybe shows to them, maybe they don't think I'm capable of doing the job anymore because I'm having these panic attacks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And your new thought?
I guess I could look at it as they're my coworkers and my bosses. They could support me and understand what I'm going through, and that could help reassure me that I'm not going to lose my job, because they're there to help me as well get through this tough time in my life. I think that would be the most positive way to look at it.
Okay, good. And reiterating, the mindfulness meditation sounds like it was helpful for you to target those panic attacks. So also keep that in mind, that you're learning throughout these sessions how to utilize positive coping skills. So that was another great example. Give me another one.
Just the general feeling of being unsure of where my life is going right now. after losing 2 family members recently and just not really being sure where like my work life and things are going, that kind of presents these feelings of doubt and things like that.
Okay. And your automatic thought you've got behind that?
Just like I said, I'm unsure of my professional life, like where's my career going, and then how also my personal life with friends and other relationships I have, like where could those be going as well.
And I think those are very normal feelings to have. I think as humans we all are worried about the uncertainty of life. But there's also a positive side to that, which is going to be your new thought. Which would be?
Maybe if I could set concrete goals for myself that I could work towards, it would kind of help clear things up more and leave the uncertainty out of it. So if I set a goal that I know I can work towards and get better at, then it'll clear things up in life, in my professional career and my personal life.
Alright, that was really good. Let's try one more. One more thought you've got going on. What's the trigger?
It sounds a little, I guess, morbid, but feeling like I could possibly be the next one in my family to die, being that I just had these 2 recent deaths. It almost kind of feels like it could happen to me too at any minute.
Okay. And what's your automatic thought?
Just the stress of worrying that I might not have much time left.
Okay. Great. Now, I know I'm going to sound morbid with you, but we all know that eventually we're going to die, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so.
Yeah. And it's something that we don't have control over, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, so thinking about that, what might be your new thought?
Maybe just try not to dwell so much on negative feelings and try and focus on the positives more, and just focus more on living life now rather than worrying about dying, I think is the best thing to do.
Okay. Alright. Those were all great examples, I feel, that really reflect all of the thoughts that are going on in your mind that are constantly overwhelming you and increasing your anxiety and depressive symptoms. I think you did a great job with the activity, really targeting what's bothering you and kind of spinning it and thinking of it in a new perspective. I think all of those triggers and automatic thoughts really just show how your perspective on life is, but it also shows how much progress you've gained from attending these sessions. So I really commend you for that. So after doing this activity, do you kind of see how our triggers kind of influence our automatic thoughts?
Definitely, for sure.
Okay.
It has a big impact on how I'm thinking, how my emotions are, and things like that.
So thinking of things in a way with a new thought. How did you feel about having to come up with a new thought?
I don't think it's easy, especially if you're in a negative situation in the present, but really trying to look at what positives you can have and kind of show you how easy it can be to try and turn your life around and fix these negative feelings and emotions that you're having.
I think that's a great takeaway from the assignment, and I want you to continue to think about that. Just continue to, if you have some type of thought coming in your mind, think of how you can put that spin on it and really try hard to make things more positive. I know it's difficult, but you did a really great job with the activity, so great job.
Thank you.
So we're running into the end of our session, but I wanted to go ahead and go over your homework with you this week. I've got a little chart prepared for you already, and I'll go over it with you. So this is an activity where you're going to talk about more positive behavioral activation.
Okay.
Now, I know that sounds like a lot of gibberish, but at the beginning of the session you had told me you were feeling really depressive and kind of sad. Do you feel like you're able to kind of target the depressive symptoms? Like, what are you doing at home to help really stop those depressive symptoms from happening?
I mean, the mindfulness meditation was really the first and only thing I've done.
Okay.
I'm not really doing anything else, and I just kind of go home and kind of keep to myself, honestly. So.
Okay. So this is just something I figured might be helpful to you, not only as, for me to see, but also as a visual for you, so you can really, see what actions you're participating in. So what I want you to do is I want you to fill out this chart, so you'll start today and go through until I see you next week. So it's got the days of the week here, and then morning, afternoon, and evening. So I want you to start with simple behavioral goals, and then work towards more challenging activities. So I gave you an example. So for morning, wake up at 8 a.m., eat breakfast. Afternoon, go for a 15-minute walk. In the evening, call a friend, talk to them about what's going on, or practice playing your guitar. I know you don't play guitar, maybe you do, but just an example. But instead of saying, in the evening, I'm going to isolate myself, just try to think of more positive activities so that we're not subjecting ourselves to, isolation and not talking to others about what's going on, just so that we can work towards hopefully decreasing those depressive symptoms. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So take this home. If you have any questions, let me know. But other than that, you did a really great job today during session. So thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you next week.
All right.